Hello, everyone, and welcome to RHAP's coverage of Survivor 49 for Survivor Global. I'm your host, Shannon Guss, here to talk about episode 2 of Survivor 49. Some interesting stuff happening, and the most exciting part of all of it is that I have a wonderful guest. We are keeping the Laura train running. We're keeping the Brain v Brawn 2 train running. We're just rolling on to another great guest in Laura Noonan. Noonan, thank you for being here.
Woo! I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you because I know you're a huge fan. Like, Brain v Brawn 2 really carried the fandom of Australian Survivor, I feel, in like having a lot of fans, which is so unlikely on Australian
Yeah,
Survivor. So it's good for my guest list though.
yeah, I loved it. I think watching so many years, you want to see someone that loves it just as much as you do out there. And I think having like me, Miles, you could tell that we absolutely adored the show. I think fans really love that. So I love that.
Yeah, how have you been feeling about Survivor 49?
So far, I'm intrigued. Am I entertained the whole time? Probably not. But I'm intrigued at this like slow burn. I feel like it's a slow burn. I just want it to burn hotter and quicker and faster.
Yeah, kind of like Keller, like you were looking for the flint,
Yes.
to ignite the season. And that isn't happening as yet. I thought this was interesting. I thought the journey was interesting. I thought Hina coming first, despite having the disadvantage, was honestly super compelling. And I'm like, now 2 episodes in a row, I'm feeling like the challenge moments are the most interesting part, and maybe that's an indictment on the season. The vote itself wasn't that interesting. I didn't think, like, to me, this was such a clear Annie boot from the first couple of minutes that even when Hina had the disadvantage, I was like, well, what is happening here? Because I can't imagine like they go to tribal, that Sophie goes. Like, it kind of took a little bit out of the sting out of them winning, although it was so impressive. Because I just felt like beginning to end, this was Annie's swan song. So like the vote I
Yes.
thought was kind of meh. Jawan had some interesting decisions in terms of the journey. Like there's stuff there. It's always a fun
There's
cast, but like
stuff
we're
to
still
unpack. Yeah.
waiting. There's a
There's
little bit of
definitely
stuff.
stuff to unpack. I think the narrative of this season is at a slower pace, but I just think that'll build for some really interesting moves because it seems like they've all had a lot of time together, even though they've only had 5 days, especially for our stunning yellow Hina tribe. I thought the disadvantage was interesting. Their worst enemy is coconuts, so they don't have like a lot to battle right now except for that disadvantage, which was crazy.
And they still won.
They still won. They were. It
Yeah.
wasn't even like yeah. Oh, the blue tribe is like sadness from inside out. That's what they
Yes,
give.
that's very fair. I said to Peter, I'm like, look, I don't care about the challenges, but that was damn impressive that they did that. But then it does make you think. And there's always discussion about this, and the upsetting thing is we've talked about it for 9 seasons, and we'll continue to talk about it. Like, one of
Mm.
the worst things about the monotony of the new era is that it like enforces the monotony of the commentary. I think I say that as a commentator, and I don't want to like put it on us as commentators, but we have to keep having the same discussions because they keep putting the same structure in front of us. We've talked about it for so long, like the cascading effect, the domino effect of how you cannot dig yourself out of the hole of not having flint, of not having
Yes.
supplies. They don't have a machete. They can't form sentences, the poor Thadness Keller tribe. And how can they do a puzzle in that situation? Like they said, they haven't eaten in days. Like we see Uli at least get like a massive crab. So I think that it made me wonder if you can physically see more keys, 9 more keys as a disadvantage in a challenge, and 10 kilos of coconuts on each tribe member's back. I don't want to say that's not a huge disadvantage, and they also beat Uli, so it was very impressive. But what is the comparative coconut ratio on your back
Yeah.
of not having had fire for 5 days? Like, what is that
Exactly.
physical disadvantage that we just can't physically see in
Yeah.
comparison to like something that we saw Hina have in this challenge?
And who's measuring that? Who's saying 10 kilos will have enough of effect on them to potentially lose? I think, yeah, I don't think there's a comparison in the disadvantages. Carrying 10 kilos of coconuts for maybe an hour, depending on how long the challenge goes for, is nothing compared to not having fire. Like not having food is crazy.
Yeah.
She could, poor Sophie couldn't even speak like at all. Like
Yeah.
what level of entertainment are you going to get out of a tribe that can't formulate sentences if they can't put a sentence together, they're not putting a blind side together. And you
Yeah.
saw them sort of like even the weight of secrecy, like even the weight of Alex finding the beware advantage, he couldn't bear himself. He had to tell 4 other people.
Yeah.
Just I think that a disadvantage pales in comparison to carrying 20 coconuts and having extra keys. That's
And I've
an
been thinking about I've been thinking about this a lot over the last since watching the episode last night. And I think, because there are disaster tribes in 3 tribe seasons before the new era without these, functions of like keeping the flint and not giving people supplies, and also reward and immunity being combined so that if someone wins immunity, they also win reward. There's obviously, we see Matt Singh, we see Luzon and Brains v. Brawn. Like, there is obviously like a mental effect to also losing all the time. It's the fact that Kayla keeps saying like we're 0 for 5, like they're so in their heads about it. I think that matters as well. But for me, it's not just in looking on the stats. Like, the stats of now 2/3 of seasons in 9, we've had disaster tribes. So, but it's not even just on that stats. It's looking at specific situations where it's not just like a weaker tribe that's in their head that can't get it done, like a Luzon and Brains v. Brawn. I think it's like you look at specific situations like this. If Kayla have Eden, can they do that puzzle? I don't know their puzzle abilities, but I have to think it matters. Like, if they're against a tribe with a disadvantage and they have that much of a head start, I think that is a material difference that is being changed here by the lack of resources that they have. I look at the swap tribe from last season that had Joe, Kyle, Camilla, and Shaheen. Very strong tribe. And even they lost because they came into a worse camp that hadn't had the supplies. They didn't have flint. That was, to me, the greatest indictment on this twist, because that made no sense. And of course, everyone can have a bad day, but it would seem so driven by the circumstances that they were in. So it's not just like even looking at the stats and being like, well, there are, this amount of 3 tribe disaster tribes pre and post new era. I think it's looking at specific situations like this where the tribe is saying that they're gonna die, So I think it's things like, and I think that shows in these specific situations that it's already hard for these tribes to dig themselves out of the hole of like being the losing tribe. But I think that it just makes that much more impossible.
Yeah, I don't know how in this new era of Survivor this hasn't been addressed, like, within the show, but it's detrimental to an audience member because it's so predictable that this tribe is going to continue to lose if something doesn't change, even with an advantage or a disadvantage. It's pains me to watch it because it could be such a tight race, which I think is more entertaining, but it's not, because not having food, losing hurts so much. I didn't lose a lot, but when we did lose, it hurts. You get down in the dumps. So they're in a downward spiral. They're in a ball of sadness, and they need some joy to get out of it. And I'm scared that they won't find it.
I love your Inside Out references. I'm very much on the journey with you.
I'm on that journey.
Yeah, I think it's evident. Like, I've kind of like half been like talking to some people about it. Like, people responded on social media and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. I think it speaks for itself. And I think that people on disaster tribes, they don't know what it's like to not be on a disaster tribe, but I think that these things have to be a factor. And I don't think it's compelling anymore because it feels so inevitable. Like, when it felt like it was the tribe's fault, and this is true of like all Survivor, we talk about agency. When it felt like, oh, Matt Singh, you just suck. Like, how are you in your head? Luzon was a mess. We even had other tribes through the new era as well, where it was like, this is compelling because it speaks to you as people. You cannot get it together. But I think the more that it goes on and the more that it feels like a function of the structure, like, do we blame Kelly? I don't know. I just feel bad for them. And it's been a while that I've just been feeling bad for these disaster tribes. Well, even last season, like, sure, wasn't going well. But it also felt like now I'm like, well, why did you put that tribe together? That was such like that. You could see that was a disaster tribe. So I think so much of that has been like the agency, I feel, is taken from the players, and it's the difference between we talked about this so many times. But like, the easiest possible route is like being like a winning new era tribe. The hardest possible route is being a losing tribe. It's literally night and day difference. And it's a function of not so much like these tribes being a mess as much. And we do get it for sure. Like Lulu, like they felt like they were doing a lot to themselves. But it kind of feels like casting's choices sometimes, and then other times it just feels like they're part of the system, and like I don't blame them. I couldn't get out of that. So
I feel like they try
it's
and
more meaningful when it feels like it's on them, not the show.
yeah, and I feel like they try and force a underdog upon us. Like
Yeah.
they're like, okay, this tribe sucks, so the underdog's coming from this tribe instead of it happening organically. Because there's
Yeah, exactly.
an underdog can still be winning. So now I'm like forced to feel bad for this tribe,
Yeah.
and then they're forced to play the game so much quicker than everybody else that yet now you're rooting for them and it doesn't feel organic. Like I want to root for someone that it's genuinely hard for them because of everything, not because of circumstances.
Yeah, like Jeremiah is screwed. I'm like, I feel bad. Like, what are the odds that Jeremiah makes it through next week? The odds of Kaylee winning are low. I had hope for them this week, but it's low.
Yeah.
And then there's like a clear 3. And like you should lock in. They've done the boring votes. They've tried to make themselves as physically best as they can be. I do not blame them for that. And they've locked themselves into a group. They've had like some moments of like, should we turn? Like, should Alex turn? All of that's crazy. Like, stay
Yeah.
together as much as you can in a 3, because we've also seen from disaster tribes that if that's the situation you're in, being like a Yanu, sticking together as much as they did,
Yeah.
for a while, like having those connections like Tika is the best way to play that. So like just locking in with a group of what becomes 3 is the best way for that to go. But like I feel like Jeremiah is absolutely screwed next week.
He is screwed. This is what I struggle with a tribe of 6. There's so little room
Yeah.
to make these grand moves that they want people to make. And now he's in a tribe where everyone knows Alex has an idol. Alex seems like he's main man with everyone. So I'm like, Jeremiah is screwed. I don't know how he weasels his way out of this one when there's no wiggle room for him to do so.
Yeah. And I feel like I come onto the podcast and for like the first 15 minutes, I like complain about the new era. But to be fair, it's because I think that these casts are intelligent and they play the game in front of them as I would suggest. Like, I don't think much was done wrong here at all. Like through these first 2 votes, like they're doing what they have to do. It's just like, it's quite a stagnant way to play as delivered to them by the system. So then I come in and have to like complain about the system. But I mean, yeah, like voting out Annie for me was like a no-brainer, like obviously
Yeah.
Alex shouldn't turn on Sophie. I was like, what are you doing? And I believed it for like that was like the first time I was like, is Annie actually going to not go home? Because he told Annie. So, and he said, he's like, I really don't know what, and he clearly didn't actually know what he was going to do, because why else would you tell Annie? She certainly doesn't need any help not playing a shot in the dark or being blindsided. Like she was, not really following what was happening with the tribe. So that part to me actually got me for a while, but like, Alex does the right thing. They all do the right thing in staying strong. And it's honestly, like they use the sinking ship metaphor a lot. Like I think you just like huddle up and hold on for dear life. And that's what they're doing to try and survive this right now.
Yeah, and I think it's the right strategy. There's very little room to move. I think the way they manipulate Annie is to prevent her from using any type of shot in the dark, because she seems like someone that would just randomly try anything. So I think he calms her nerves really, really well. But it's the right decision. And then moving forward, it has to be clear where the lines of the sand are. So I don't know what can come from that if they lose again. Like the next vote just seems so obvious.
Yeah. But then you swap. So like I think it's about surviving as a 3. And I do have to give credit to Jake, who I was kind of hard on last week because I didn't agree with like the specific choices he was making, like really publicizing his relationships. But to his credit, it really hasn't seemed to have impeded him much. Like he's very much at the center of this, more than I expected. Sophie calls him her number 1. I think he largely must be what keeps Alex somewhat in line to not vote out Sophie here, because obviously it's like, oh, then I'll be closer to Alex. Then I'll be closer to Jake. Have I been saying Jake or Alex? Jake is the one I was hard on. Jake is the one.
Jake is Holt.
Yeah, Jake is the one that I want to give credit to. Alex, we gave a lot of credit to last week. I think Alex is doing well. Jake, I want to give credit to because he's so in the middle. He's Sophie's number 1, which I didn't expect. And yeah, I mean, I thought that his decisions would impede him more than they have. And it's not that, like, look, the physical assets that he brings definitely help him. Even Annie's like, I want to get out Jake, and then it's like, we can't, we're going to die. So that just shows that he has a lot of room to move, but he's used that room well. He's at the center of this tribe. He's keeping Alex in line. Like, I'm now giving credit to Jake. How do you think Jake is doing?
I personally think he's doing extremely well considering the muscle mass on that man. He is a clear first target pre-merge. You want to get this guy out. But I think he's playing in a way that's subtle, where it seems like he's just having a conversation all the time. He's like, yeah, we can't do that. And everyone's like, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't do that. So it's not like he's even pitching ideas. He comes across as a very collected person. So I don't think they see that as threatening. I think he's just really chilled about all his decisions that he has to make, which then everyone around him is quite chill. Like, it doesn't seem frantic. He doesn't seem like a frantic player, where Alex bounces off chaos. I feel like he enjoys it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we need to give the muscle men more credit, because usually those people are so filled with ego that this is their opportunity to prove something. And Jake's like, I don't need to do that. I know I'm strong.
Yeah.
So I just feel like he's more well-rounded.
He has at times, I think, been extreme. Like, I thought telling everyone about his dad, telling everyone about his baby. Like, I'm like, okay, fine. Say your wife is pregnant, but don't say she's giving birth right now. You can,
that was
say
wild.
you've tried to have a child. Like, you can still connect with people. But I thought there was no reason for them to know that he was missing the birth of his child. Like, that's so specific. So that was last week, though, and I already criticized that. Like, I felt this week, Alex telling Annie about the idol, which I guess she could use against him if she ever somehow reads it's going in a very bad direction, which seems like a very big if. Sophie wanting to steal the idol for herself from her allies who have technically brought her in, I thought was crazy. Like, yes, she and Alex are clocking each other, but I was like, that would be so aggressive. Whereas Jake's like, look, I've got these two number ones, tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Like, they're both really close to me. That will probably be the final three in this group. He's at the center of everything. He's just chugging along, and he's like keeping it really stable. And I don't think I can say the same of his allies and all their decisions this week. I still think they're doing great, but I feel like Jake was actually like holding it down this week.
Yeah, which I find surprising, because usually they want to be, I'm in control, and let everyone know they're in control. And he's happy to have two passengers.
Yeah, so I think Jake's doing pretty well here. What did you think of Alex here? Like, Alex gets the idol. What did you think of Alex's decision to save Annie and, well, maybe to not save Annie, but between saving Annie and taking out Sophie, or just like doing the thing that they should do?
I mean, it's something that you obviously can, he has to consider it, but I don't think he considers pulling the trigger. I think telling Annie about the idol calms her down. And he's like, to me, it's more of a read on Annie that she is so unaware that she is the vote, even though previously she was the decoy, that he's now just playing into this game of, I can lie, I can make her feel secure, let me share her a little secret, let me tell her about the idol. I think it's really clever on his part to keep her in his back pocket, because then she's not going to blow up his game. And that's what it's all really about. He's like, I'm happy to lie to these people and vote them out, but I don't want them to throw the grenade on their way out type of feeling. So I think it was the right decision to tell her, because everyone else already knew. If no one else knew, then it's done. Don't tell any. But everyone already knew. And then he says that line at Tribal. He says, I didn't find it. I don't think anyone else finds it. And to me, that calms Annie down even more. She's like, I know he's lying to everyone, but he's told me the truth. I think that's actually genius. So it was the right move to tell Annie, but I just was annoyed that everyone was there when he found it. What happened to keeping secrets?
Yeah, it's hard in a small tribe that are always together. I think that's the thing as well. And like, Jake is happy for Sophie to be there, but like, they're all working together, so they're going to go off together. I don't think it's the worst thing for him that they know. Like, at the end of the day, whoever makes it out of this group are going to have to lock it in. Like, it's his idol, but like playing it for the group and like working forward as your small, like remaining Kele group is probably how this will end up anyway. So I don't think it will hugely matter. At the point where like you've gone to the point where you really want it to be individual, like that's already like a huge win. Like, I think they're going to have to like be on the battle lines together. So I don't think it matters that much. I think he just needs to like stop side-eyeing Sophie as much and vice versa. And they just need to lock in on the fact that they're probably going to be a three that are going to have to be like, you know, really loyal to each other for life, as tied by Jake. But it doesn't matter. Like, take that to the end. Like, why? Again, as Jake says, he has clarity on it. Like, it actually doesn't matter. Although I do kind of think Alex is his number one if push comes to shove, but I don't think it actually matters. I think telling Annie is interesting because it's going out of your way to blindside someone who's saying she's the puppet master. Like, sure. Again, conventionally, sure. He did like,
Yeah.
and he's done it both weeks. He's the one telling Nicole she's good. Like, he's really like, a lot of the power has been in Alex's hands of like pulling off these great blindsides, and they have both been blindsides. But like, did Annie need it? No. Like, was Annie gonna play her shot in the dark? She was not. Should she have? Of course. But Annie didn't know what was going on, right? Like, even as you said, she's a decoy. She's saying it in her ex interviews now. She's like, actually, what was really happening is like we were all of 5 and they told me to go off so that I could be the decoy. It's like, that's what they told you. How can you still think that's true? Did you not watch the show? Like, that was not the vibe. So yeah. Somehow she still thinks that today. That's what's crazy.
That's
to me.
wild. I think I cringe when people call themselves the puppet master because we're all puppets. Jeff is the survivor is the puppet master.
Right. Especially now in the new era.
Yeah, so calling yourself that just sets you up to not be the puppet master.
It was bad.
I think my biggest thing with Annie was, how did she keep her glitter eyeshadow on the whole time? That's
They
what
asked her. Mike asked her in the X interview.
Did she say how? Did she glue it?
She didn't really give instructions, but like, I guess that could be like a good how-to. She said the mud didn't do well for it. I mean, she was there for 5 days. Like, I think I could have mascara that just like stays
glitter eyeshadow on the whole time.
It's a good ad for that glitter eyeshadow. But I think with Annie as well, even like they weren't even trying to feed it to her. Like, even when she said to Alex, like, should we do Jake? Alex was like, should we? And she was like, yes. She was like, Sophie really wants that. Alex was like, does she?
Trust
she was
me
like,
on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like Sophie's like making faces to the camera, like, to be fair, like in front of her, but like, Annie, maybe it was a glitter eyeshadow. Like, can you see what is happening in front of you? Like, they're not even like giving you a resounding affirmation on this. And I think Annie just saw what she wanted to see. So that's why I think I wouldn't go out of my way to tell her about the idol, because I think Annie was like, I don't need to play my shot in the dark. I'm the puppet master. But I mean, you do you. Like, Alex has done well on it, but I just felt like he went 150% of what he needed to do to blindside someone who thought she was in control, and to this day doesn't understand what the semantics were on the tribe.
Yeah. I think she didn't know that, like, the saying, if they're not talking with you, they're talking about you. And it's like she didn't identify how alone she was. Like, those 4 just always seem to fall into each other's laps. Conversations. Her conversations are only ever one-on-one. So to me, I'd be thinking, why aren't I in the group chat? Like, why not? Who kicked me out of the group chat? That's what I'd be thinking. But she had no concept of that she wasn't in the group. She just thought, I'm controlling by having these individual group chats. And that's not how it works. And she realized that.
I wish for Annie's level of security. Like me, I'm a very insecure person. I'm like asking my husband, who I've been with for 13 years, I'm like, do you still love me? Every day. You love me, right? How much out of 10? Annie is like, my whole thing is I don't talk to Alex, but I'm his number one. And everyone will do my plan. I'm like, maybe some level of insecurity is good. Maybe we should all be double checking things all the time. Annie is like not picking up, what people are putting down in terms of.
Yeah.
Alex literally said, does she was like, yeah, she does.
Yeah, she didn't even question the fact that he's questioning it. Like, why does Alex have this doubt? Why? And she's like, nah. Nah.
Yeah. Does Sophie want to vote out the strongest person in the tribe when we're already getting absolutely, like, completely destroyed in these challenges? Like, yeah, I think she does. Even I'm not going to want to in a couple of days. So, but she does, yeah. Yeah. And Annie did go from being in like, I want to go to tribal council. I'm happy to, be suffering here. And then they lost the next challenge. She was like, I think maybe we try not to lose. I've switched to maybe we try win one of the challenges.
I just think it's she was the decoy vote and she wants to go back to tribal. Like, that's wild to me. That's a crazy thing to want.
Yeah.
She should have said, I want cookies. That would have been a better answer. Yeah. But like, she wants to go to
another blue losing tribe. Yeah. That's the kind of person you don't need to show the idol to blindside. But sure, he did well with it. I think as well, turning it onto Sophie was somehow crazier. Like, trying to turn it on to Jake when they were losing felt like the most insane thing, but then being like, actually, I think we go on tribe strength. It's like, Annie, that's how people view you. Like, at
Yeah.
least the Jake thing is very different. Like, at least you're trying to gather the people who might see themselves as on the bottom. Like, as you would hope at Jeremiah, who we saw, like, maybe the least of the interactions. But, like, at least that's, like, a different way to view it versus Sophie. It's, like, at the point where they're going to do challenge trends, like, I understand she lost the puzzle, but, like, they might just look at you. Like, especially from a demographic perspective, that has been famously what people tend to do.
Yeah. I think this just comes back to Annie's confidence. She's just so confident in herself. She knows she's contributing to challenges, even though the tribe is saying that you're not. Hence why you were the vote between you and Nicole. It was for the exact reason. We want to win challenges. We think you guys are letting us down. So she just must have this amazing confidence that I wish we could bottle up, and I could use it sometimes in real life, but not in Survivor.
Yeah. I did think that the best thing we said this was good last week, and it really paid off well. And there was debate around like whether Sophie coming back and telling them about Annie was a good thing to do. And like I think it's been proven how great that was, because in a world where Annie comes and tells Alex that Sophie's into it and she hasn't told the group, like he could use that against her. We know he's kind of looking to do that. But Sophie getting ahead of it and really locking herself into that group, I think, was very smart. And then there was nothing. She didn't have any skeletons in the closet. So I think that she's done well on that.
Yeah, I think she's actually in a really good position if they get past this little hump of losing.
Yeah, it seems like they will. I think she'll have to sacrifice Jeremiah, but it seems like it won't matter much to her as much as I thought it did, because she's most tied to Jake. So
yeah,
she's made her choices. Do we want to talk about the journey?
Yes, the journey.
So the journey I thought was interesting. Firstly, what did you think about the people who chose to go on the journey? We had, because there wasn't a lot of people, you know, and as obviously they'd just seen the 48 preseason where everyone who went on the journey lost votes, and it was this like nightmare. So people had to be pretty brave to put their hand up. We saw MC and Matt do scissors, paper, rock, and then just Jawan, who was on the bottom, and they all let him go, and Jake. They let Jake go. So what did you think about the decisions from these people and their tribes to let those people go on the journey?
I think the Jake decision was purely to win. Like, I think as a tribe, they were like, we want to come back with some sort of win. I think Jake's our best bet. The Matt thing is pure by chance, but the Jawan thing, I don't know if he was able to read the fact that he's on the bottom, because we haven't seen a moment where he's admitted it, where he says, I feel like I'm on the bottom. So I think either he's got a really good read on his position and we don't know it yet, or he just took this opportunity to like dip his feet in Survivor. He's like, I want this reward, I want this advantage, or whatever it may be. And I think everyone going, yeah, you can go, should be telling to him. But I don't know if it is.
I would think that everyone letting him go would seem that he's more included. My whole thing has always been people are too polite on the journeys. Why are you letting the person on the bottom go? And I do think like, okay, whatever. That new four, I guess, could split on stage in Jawan. Maybe they don't want to risk themselves because it has been so dicey, and they don't want to like really put Jawan off and tell him no. I mean, someone else could at least put their, scissors, paper, rock in the ring so that at least they'd have a chance if you want to be polite. But maybe they just think, okay, I don't want to risk myself, and we could split if we need to. I still don't love for them Jawan going. Who knows what he could get? Of course, like he's most likely to apparently lose a vote, but I don't think that you want to risk him having something you don't know about and him being one of your targets. So I actually thought it was really good for Jawan to go. We have seen like, I think Shannon said like when you're kind of on the bottom and it becomes this like 4-2, like you start picking up on it. He'd had the whole bag incident with Savannah. I don't know if that happened before, but maybe he's picking up on that. I think it was very good for him to go, because at that point, like risk it for the biscuit. I thought that it was good for Jake to go. Obviously, he can afford to lose his vote. They're so locked in. He's got so much runway. He's so strong. Yeah. And then I thought Matt and MC. We'll talk about MC. MC's playing very hard. I don't really think she needs to. I think she's playing harder than she needs to. Matt, I feel like I liked it. Like he's in this like hopeful group, and Matt is like in a difficult demographic. Like start start hitting for the fences. Like unfortunately, that is the way on Survivor. Like if you get a move under your belt, I think that getting some ammo actually is a good thing. So I kind of liked it for all three of the people who ended up going. I just my biggest thing was like, okay, it's kind of crazy to let Jawan go. But again, I see that as well. If he's the newer cast know how to play the system by now, I think. But
yeah.
yeah,
I think Savannah like says like I don't feel comfortable having Jawan go
yeah,
because he's on the
exactly.
bottom, and the likelihood of him coming back with something is 50-50. But I also think they're assuming they know everything because of what they've seen. So they know he's either going to come back with a advantage, whatever it is, or no vote. So to Savannah, that's still a win because she knows he doesn't either have a vote or she knows he has advantage, whatever the advantage may be, and at least they have that opportunity where they can split it between the two. And I think it's incredibly good that Jawan goes because he needs it. I was
Yeah.
shocked that he won the challenge.
Yeah, that was a great moment too. I think like with Savannah, if you're uncomfortable with him going, like he shouldn't be going. Like Savannah
Yeah,
has too much power. That 4 should like when they're having discussions about their group, and we don't know when these happen, like chronologically as well. But when they're having discussions as a 4, it should be like, what do we do on a journey? It's like we all put our hands up to go, and we all take one for the team, and like all do scissors paper rock at least, or
yes.
like pull sticks or whatever, to try and make sure that it's kept between us, and then at least like we have majority either way.
Mm.
Like yes, we would lose our split potential, but if they have like maybe less likely to get something. Obviously, if they're not there, they could find beware. But I just kind of think that you should work that out as a group. But it felt very individual to be like, I don't want to go. But if Savannah is uncomfortable with it, like change it. Like you are in a powerful spot. Like you shouldn't be uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, you've got to be having these conversations with your core 4, and whether we're not seeing them or they're not having them is a different discussion. But I would have, out of the 4 of them, I would have had someone step up to do the same thing that Matt and MC did. Like, let's just rock, paper, scissors. Because then if Jawan goes, it's less suspicious. It's like, oh, you're going because of fate, or you're going because you're better at that, or you pick the stick. There's something for you to build on as to why, even if you're Savannah and you're like, oh, I went because I got stick, guys. Like, and you can play off that as not being a strategic move. But right now they're just handing advantage to someone who they don't want to have an advantage, which I find very odd.
Yeah, at least he can probably feel more comfortable because it's like, oh, maybe they don't all hate me if they, if they're letting me go. And I think the thing
Yeah.
with Uli as well is like it's very, very hard to look into the dynamics of either of these tribes who are so unlikely to go to tribal council. Like both of the dynamics that we see are making a 4, and the 4 is probably irrelevant. They're not going to go to tribal council, and these tribes get on. We've seen that Hina, like they all are like the Kumbaya tribe. We've seen that Uli, like there's a secret scene where they're like talking about how they're all grateful for each other, and Jawan's like, they're like my family. I think that these like what happens in the edit is it's 5 minutes of all the focus being on like this is a 4-2, or like Savannah and Jawan having that whole bag issue. But like I think for the most part, both of these tribes are likely to be good. You know what I mean? Like they'll probably go through to never voting in these iterations, and they'll probably have good relationships throughout. So in that way, it's not so much like, oh my God, we have to stop Jawan. It's like, maybe we'll work with Jawan. Like maybe we never have to vote out Jawan, and we're with him at a swap or a merge. And he is like an older brother to me. So I think that it is hard because the edit focuses on that because we need to know the dynamics of the tribe. But at the end of the day, the dynamics of tribes that likely won't vote as tribes.
Yeah, they're not going to be tested, I don't think.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
is it that big of a deal? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I thought the concept of Jawan going was very interesting, that they were all like, yeah, go, bye. Have a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really like Jawan. So it was a bit unfortunate to see like the whole bag incident happen. And then he's like put himself a bit on the outs. Like it's all quite unfortunate. Like I think he's actually really trying to help and just like have made some social missteps. So I was glad for him that like he got a win here. And then I think like played it all very well.
Yeah. I agree. I was sad that he had the bag incident. He's just trying his best to help everyone. And it's backfiring so much. And even like now everyone thinks he's got it. Does he have an idol? Does he not have an idol? And then you send him on this journey where he could come back with an idol. It's just all very Jawan. I personally really like him. I think he could be really, really dynamic as the season progresses. I liked him in the challenge. I thought he made the right decision.
Yeah, I felt like, why did he tell Savannah about her bag? Like, she's going to realize it. Like, you can't just put that off.
Yeah.
Like, she will see it. Yeah. It wasn't great. But with the decision, so in terms of like the actual journey, it was a challenge. Like, let's be clear, they did another individual challenge.
Yeah.
And it could have been more strategic. Like they could have like ganged up on one strong person, which didn't really seem to happen, and would be very socially aggressive.
Mm.
But people like that you wouldn't necessarily lose your vote, and I guess like the bar is in hell, so sure. Um, I used to like it more when they were like quasi prisoner dilemmas, like actual dilemmas. Like for me, that was more of a thing. But my favorite thing about this journey was that Jawan then does get a decision. Like the decisions to me are what's interesting. We can look at what Jawan does. And I think that giving him the decision between not even just taking an individual reward, it's an extra vote, like kind of whatever. Extra votes do nothing. But it was more about like not the individual reward versus the tribe reward. It was more about like, do I want to piss off one person specifically
Yeah. Or
or like
6.
a whole tribe? And I thought that was kind of an interesting debate for me.
Yeah, I think that would be the main point of that decision. How many people do I want to piss off? And from the very small interaction he has with Matt and Jake, they don't gang up on, they play it very fair. So I think
Yeah.
that comes into play. He's like, do I want to piss off these two people that are physically, he makes a point that that Jake is muscle on muscle and Matt's also a big guy. So does he want to piss off the two big guys in the game? Probably not. Or does he want to piss off 6 people? And I'm glad he's faced with this tough decision. I'm glad it's not just like handed to him because he has to really think about it. And this is what makes me think he might have a read on his tribe because he chooses, in my opinion, the right decision to help his tribe. But I'm still bitter on the losing the no vote because I think that forces that makes it more interesting back at camp, not with a tribe of 6 not having a vote.
So you would prefer that they just lost their vote for losing the challenge?
I would prefer that they all face the decision. So do you want to participate in the challenge? If you do and you lose your vote. If you don't, you can go on your merry way and not compete.
Yeah, I think that is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, this is gaming it completely differently, but if it was like you will all compete for a tribe advantage, if you lose your vote. Do you want to partake? Like someone could just win the challenge by themselves. Like someone could be the only person who competes.
Yeah.
Do you want to risk your vote for a tribal advantage? Or do you want to go back and give 2 other people the chance to fight for a tribal advantage in a challenge?
Yeah.
This is a different twist, but this is actually pretty good. It goes back to losing votes, but it gives people agency and makes them choose between their vote and the tribe. That's actually really good, I think.
Yeah. I think that would have, that choice, just forcing players to make decisions is always more interesting than getting out of jail. Like they just were like, oh, we didn't win. So we can just, I think Matt said, nothing won, nothing lost. And I'm like, that's boring. I want you to
that
lose.
was a bit lost in the end because he lost the challenge and then his whole team was disadvantaged. He just didn't know that at the point. So it was kind of like foreshadowing but then he was going to win. But I think this was different and interesting, but I do think the thing that we always say about lost votes, and I kind of can't be bothered with the vote economy, so I'm never going to like complain that they didn't lose their votes. But I think that we don't like when they go on the journey, even if they put their hand up through the journey, especially when they've been chosen to do the journey and there's no choice. But even if they put their hand up, we don't like that they just lose their vote. If you get there and can decide to opt in for an advantage, that's different. And if the advantage is a tribal advantage versus risking your personal vote, like now we've got some stakes. Like I think that's like probably the best way to do that with agency for the players. In what we actually got, with Jawan, I mean, I thought that firstly, like in terms of like what he could actually win, the individual component of an extra vote versus hopefully winning a challenge, hopefully having more supplies, not going to tribal council, like being the tribe to not lose their flint, like all the things we've said about how important winning is and like assuring that more for your tribe, you would think. Like to me, that's like actually a better personal advantage, let alone you're helping the tribe. So that to me is a no-brainer. In terms of like pissing off one person versus 6, it's very personal to do it to one person. It's almost worse, even though that's kind of counterintuitive, I think. I think, just to like, because it feels more targeted. Whereas with the the tribe, firstly, hopefully they would understand that like kind of anyone would do that. Like you're out there to win, like you're going to take any advantage. He won the first part of a challenge.
Yeah.
And that's what he won. Like, I think hopefully anyone would respect that. I think he also uses it to try and like cozy up to Kelly a bit, being like, I'd never push you through that. And even though I feel like he has to tell his tribe that he had a choice between the individual and the group component, like maybe it never gets out there or it doesn't matter that that was even true. Like they may think he only had a tribe disadvantage and he had to just choose between the tribes, and then Hina kind of speaks for itself. But I do think that the best case scenario for Jawan happened. Like they didn't lose the challenge, but also Hina didn't lose. I would
Yeah.
be praying Hina doesn't lose, because if they lose and they have to go to tribal council and it sets them down a really bad path and they have to vote someone out, like now maybe they're out for blood. But Hina will forget about this. Like if anything, it's like, thank you for giving us the opportunity to prove ourselves. That was an iconic moment. And I think now Jawan is fine because they didn't lose. So I feel like this actually worked out for the best. Whereas they would have been, I think, more upset if it had actually like doomed them to a loss.
Yeah, I think the fact that he shoots 6 people is better, because they kind of all just, even Sophie says it's a hit on Hina, so she doesn't take it personally. Well, she does actually. But yeah, I think the tribe absorbs that. They're like, oh, okay, they think us as a tribe is threatening. Whereas if he had taken Matt's vote, that's already like, now I've got a personal vendetta against Shawan, which my tribe can now latch onto. Like the people working with me will latch onto. I think it was the right decision. I'm glad he didn't choose the sadness tribe. That would have made me more sad. And I think Jake really appreciates it. He's like, thank you. Thank you for not choosing us. So now you've got a connection with Jake, which I feel like he's a guy that loves connections. So 100%, it was the right move. And the steal of vote is so risky because you could steal it and you could still not use it correctly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's an extra vote for him. So it's not even like you're stealing it in that tribal council. Like you could just have an extra vote and then someone loses a vote on a tribe you're not even part of. So it's like you're stealing a vote, but to use it as an extra vote, you're upsetting someone in this really personal way. Whereas again, like a hit on Hina, that has a time limit. When they aren't a tribe, then that's not going to feel personal anymore, because now we aren't the big threatening Hina tribe. Versus, okay, like someone might be, not have that vote at a merge. You might be voting with them at a swap or a merge where they've really remember that they didn't have a vote. Like I think it actually creates more of a vendetta. So I thought this was good, but we got like questions around the idea of like gaming this meta new era structure, where the assumption is if there's no medivacs, there will be a swap if a tribe loses 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of questions from both sides of this. Well, there's been discussion about it. Like, should he push it onto Kelly, which is very socially aggressive? Like, them getting a disadvantage after everything they've been through, I think they might just sit there and weep. But if you do that and you, like, ensure the disaster tribe 1,000%, even more than it is, if Jawan knows he's on the bottom, you are guaranteeing no tribal ever and a swap out of that situation. Is there anything there, or is that the cruelest and gamiest thing ever uttered for the show to try and add to production, manufacturing these disaster tribes?
Yeah, I think if he picks, I keep calling it the sadness tribe. I think
it's so fair.
Yeah, because if you think in a swap situation, they're already on the bottom, and the last thing you want to do is piss off people on the bottom, because they will do crazy things to get out from the bottom. And I think he can now recognize that if he's on the bottom and they're on the bottom in a tribe swap, there's movement there to work with them, where Hina's more like, they seem like a solid, happy, joyful group. There'll be joy, sadness and joy, which makes the red team anger,
which doesn't really work.
That doesn't work. Anxiety, one of them.
Yeah, I think I think that's way too much. Also, like, if you give it to Hina, like maybe Kayla still lose, which they do, in which case it's not your fault and you tried your best. Or Hina lose and you're like the one tribe that isn't losing. Like, I think that's fine. We got all these questions on like triggering a swap or not triggering a swap. We got from Logan Ledger. He says, would it be to the advantage of red and or yellow to throw the next challenge to avoid blue losing again and risking a swap? So, like, for example, if you're in the majority 4 on Uli or Hina, and you feel like you're in a good spot and you don't want to risk a swap and being just on like the bad side of the numbers, should you throw a challenge to sacrifice like a Jawan or a Sophie S or whoever's on the bottom of those tribes to stave off a swap? Because if Kayla lose another challenge, they'll likely swap and lose their comfortable run to the merge. Is there anything here? Or is this also completely insane. Now throwing it
Oh,
because I mean, look, the newer makes it easy because the structures are so built in, so you can look to do
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard. I'm a victim of a thrown challenge, so maybe I'm a bit
Yeah.
biased. I would not throw a challenge that early. I think I think the new era seems to be really personal and people would take it like me. Like they'd be pissed about it. But I also think if you're gonna try and induce something, you're gonna try and induce labor here, you're gonna try and induce a tribe swap or prevent it. I think production would just be like, no.
Yeah,
We're the
maybe.
puppet. I'm the puppet master. You are my puppets. It's like when people used to predict mergers and then Jeff was like, "We're not merging. We've just put you together
Yeah,
on the same page." Like,
I
I
understand
just
that.
think although the structure is so predictable now, nothing is guaranteed. Like, they all thought they were gonna lose a vote. They weren't losing a vote. So, oh, that's a hard one to toss up. Well, I'm biased because I say don't throw challenges, but it could be really interesting if that's talked about because I don't know if that's something they've talked about in a while.
Yeah, it would be the most new era thing to ever happen. Like
Yeah.
the game is so stagnant and the cast are so keyed in. Can you imagine players on Australian Survivor being like, well, if we do this, we'll trigger a swap at this time? Like most of the people are like, what's a swap? Like we've literally heard
Yeah.
people say, what's a merge? In the olden days, we had that more, but like in the olden days of 2016. But yeah, I think that would, I mean, it would be so meta. Can I say to players, future players, if you're still playing in a new era structure, firstly, my condolences to all of us. But secondly,
Oh,
please don't do this. Please don't game the game so hard that you're throwing challenges to prevent swaps or even to
yeah.
trigger swaps or like any or trying to do any of this. Like also, you shouldn't be that scared of a swap. Like look at Kyle last season. Like if you're a good
I
enough
agree.
player and hopefully we'll have like a numbers advantage. I mean, for sure it went a little tricky and he had some, tricks up his sleeve for that vote. And getting through it was a great move with his idol. And then he'd made this connection with Joe and Shaheen that saw him through the whole game. Like the hope is
Yeah.
that you can carry yourself through a difficult swap. And I know that's tricky and I know that people get swap screwed, but like the hope is you make more connections and do
Correct.
well and like
You
use
want
that
the
in the
swap
future.
you want the swap to happen. It's the next phase of the game. You don't want to stay in this easy narrative of, "Oh, we've got my 4, we can just play this along until we have to." You want the swap is a pre-merge. It's so when you get to merge, you're not going in completely blind of what other people are capable of. So I think tribe swap ups the ante tremendously. And yeah, you can get screwed by a tribe swap, but it's all about what you do. It's all about your connections that you make that eventually going to help you or hinder you in merge. Imagine if you go into merge with no tribe swap these days, I think it's detrimental to everyone's game.
Yeah, I think look, is going to emerge with your like six tribe of six intact with a 4 in it that can be like a new Reba 4, and then you sacrifice a couple of the like Fifu and J Meyer equivalents and then like run it down. Like, is that a good situation? Yes. Well, at that point, you've already sacrificed one of them because you've thrown it. Like, I'm not saying that's not good. I'm just saying you can't be so scared of a swap that you're going to throw a challenge to try game it. At that point as
Yeah.
well, like if you're a tribe that hasn't gone to tribal council, like sure, like things can fester, or like some of these tribes have good relationships. Like, if you're at the point where it swaps and you go in with 6 people who have never had to turn on each other and who've never even had to be at a tribal council and write each other's name down, like that can be good too. Like you have a good kind of social fabric with which to
Yeah.
then swap with, rather than getting to a merge where you like have been in a vote, you've maybe pissed off the other person who wasn't in your 4. Maybe also they had an eye, like you can split, but like people lose votes or whatever, like you've risked yourself technically. You've
Yeah.
you've put in now like negative social dynamics that you don't have to do, even though yes, things can fester. And you've done it all to save off a swap that could actually be of a benefit to you. Like, I kind of think if you're that much of a control freak, and I say this from love as someone who's a control freak, like, you're thinking about it too much. And I say that as someone who thinks
Yeah.
about it too much. That's just not the way. Like, that's just not your game. Like, roll with the flow and, like, hopefully you're a good enough player that you can see it through
Yeah.
even a tricky swap and make relationships and, like, better your game rather than holding on to, like, one blueprint, which is a good blueprint. I'm not saying that, like, that's not. But if you're holding on so much to just being a 4 that can make it through to emerge, and like it's quite one dimensional. I think you need a little bit
Yeah.
more than that to try
I
and
agree. I think people like Survivor isn't Survivor's social. It's this experiment that everyone like participates in, but it's not. There's not like a ringmaster. There's not someone that draws the deck, like that's handing out the cards. There's not someone that like that's not a thing. So for them to want to like not have the tribe swap happen, it's like don't hold on to that because you can't control it anyways. You like so you just have to go with the flow. And I think trying to take the blueprint of the game into your own hands will always backfire because it's just proves that you can't let things go. Like you can't move on. So when the vote changes, are you going to be this crazy person that can't let go of your plan? I think let the game go as it's meant to go, and a good Survivor player will adjust.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like there are blueprints in the new era that do work, but I think that if you go in and you are so reliant on that blueprint, it's ultimately worse for your game. Like you have to be able to see yourself through a swap if it happens
Yeah.
and not be trying to gain production. Although this is the point we're in, 9 freaking seasons in, that we're aware of how to do this and wondering whether we should. So
Yeah.
it's pushed us all to the brink of insanity, I think.
Well, I would stop calling it the new era. It needs to be called something else, like the predictable era or the something, because it's not new anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's definitely true. But anyway, that I love the question though, Logan. Sorry for dunking on it for 10 minutes, but no, please don't throw the challenges to prevent a swap. I would love to talk about Hina because there
Yes.
was some stuff happening here again, like a four being built. That's what you do, right? You prevent a swap. No. But MC made this interesting because MC like immediately went back to Sophie S, who we've known
Yeah.
so little about. It's so weird with Sophie S because she has more confessionals than like Christina and Jason, but I feel like I know Christina and Jason more. Like I feel like
More.
Sophie
Yeah.
S, maybe we just like we haven't gotten to know anything about her personally. Whereas like Christina, we've like the things we've gotten have been very personal.
Yeah.
Like she's scared of all, and her personality really shines through. So that's why I really felt like Sophie S wasn't going, and I was like, I can't imagine Hina going to tribal council. But yeah, what did you think about this? Like Matt brings in MC in like the worst possible way. He's like,
Yeah.
there are 3 of us and you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, why? He's like, you're in. She's like, thank you so much. And it was so unfortunate because Matt loves MC. What actually
Yeah.
happened was they were like, they made the 3. As he said, we spoke for like 30 seconds. It did seem quick. And then he immediately was like, let's bring in MC. And Christina was like, I was thinking the exact same thing. Like it was actually really positive for her. He couldn't have painted it in a worse light. And then
Yeah.
she felt put off by him. He loves her. And then she
He
felt put off by him.
needed
And then she goes back to Sophia's.
when you have a 4, you need to prove that you have a number 1 in the 4. So he should have just said, you and I. Like you and I, it's you and me, MC. Like I think I want to work with you. You're gonna be my go-to gal. I think we can do a lot here. And who do you want to like what are you thinking? Put the decision on her, make her feel like she has some sort of voice in this, and then say, well, why don't we talk to Christina and Steven? I think they're a good pair and we can, we'll have each other's back within the 4. But he doesn't do that. He's just like, oh, us 3 have talked and we like you. So and she's like, how long have you been talking?
Yeah.
Why am I the
Yeah.
last to know? But I think her aggression to go and tell Sophie this soon, I don't think is the right move. Because what is she doing? She's just got to force a 3-3
Yeah.
split. And if they get word that it's her forcing it, they're just going to turn on. She's going to be the target. It's not going to be Sophie S. So
Yeah.
I just think it was the right move, but too soon.
Yeah. I thought this was way too much as well. Like, even though I agree that Matt couldn't have sold that worse, and it wasn't even reflective of what had actually even happened. It was so
Yeah.
bad. I can understand why that put her off, but also being the 4th in this 4 actually doesn't really matter. Again, this 4 along for the game. Like this whole tribe is fine. Like I think you
Yeah.
have to play based on the situation you have. Like you're Hina, you can win the game with 10 kilos of coconut strapped to you. You can win the challenges. So like you're not going to tribal council anytime
Yeah.
soon, I don't think.
Yeah.
So like you can cultivate Sophie if you like her separately without being like, they threw out your name. We have this 4, giving her so much specific ammo. And maybe she can read that Sophie wouldn't use that against her in a moment of desperation. But I just kind of feel like, well, you're putting off 3 allies for 1. As you said, you're at best putting it to a 3-3. And even maybe not then. All we've seen is that Jason really likes Steven. All we see from this whole tribe is that everyone really likes Steven. Even MC is like, but I still really like Steven. Like, so where's the group you're putting together? It felt negative. It felt antisocial. I feel like there are ways that you can do that more subtly where you're like, Sophie, we have something, and like, push isn't coming to shove anytime soon, but like, I have a lot of loyalty to you. I think you can do that in a more positive way without throwing people under the bus and like putting people off and then giving people ammo to use against you.
Yeah, I think there's more power in MC knowing that she's the 4th person. I think if she knows, hey, I'm number 4 in this 4, that's great. I know that. That means I have less loyalty to them. I have more flexibility with these other people, but I don't want them to know I'm 4. Like, I don't want to push these 3 people away, which is what I think this does. Because what's stopping Sophie going to them and going, hey, MC just told me you guys wanted me out. To me, if I'm Steven or Matt, I'm like, no, Sophie, we want you. Like, we now want you over MC. So it just, and then you've got Jason. So it just creates tension, which is unnecessary because I don't think they're going to lose. So if I was MC, I would have had that in the back of my mind. I would have said, we're not going to go to tribal council anytime soon. So I'm not going to have to test these 4. I'm not going to have to see if I'm the last one to know this information.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. She hits the ground running straight to Sophie, who I think won't take it well. It won't end well. It'll just be a 3. And then Jason's just going to is Jason going to become the swing vote now?
Is Jason taking it to a tie?
Like, what's happening? Yeah.
What's Jason's relationship with Sophie? What's Jason's relationship with MC? Like, we know they were both the alternates, and also Sophie has been an alternate. So maybe that's the alternate alliance, maybe. But I think, Sophie was alternate for 48. I just think overall there are better ways to do that. And I think MC just came across as a little bored and a little spooked.
Yeah.
Where at the end of the day, she is being brought into something. It's not that dire. And like, you have days to figure this out. Like, when are we dealing with the Sophie issue of, like, Christina said they could take out Sophie. When is that going to be a thing? Is it at the merge boot? Like, is it Murgatory?
Yeah.
Like, when is that 4? When is her being at the technical bottom of that 4 even coming home to roost? Is it the final 6 of this season? Like, Hina are fine. Like, you are not in this position right now where you have to be dealing with the situation.
When is this 4 ever going to be tested? Like, I don't think it's going to be tested for a while. And MC should have just gone, this is me being the 4. I know I'm number 4. I'm going to take this opportunity to build relationship with Sophie and Jason. So if the time does come and we're tribe swapped and I'm not with any of these people on my 3, or I'm only with Matt and Sophie, I've got some wiggle room to put myself in a better position. Kind of like what Jake's doing. Jake's like, I'm with, like, Sophie's my ally. Alex is my ally. Like, this is great. I haven't pissed either of them off. So I think that would have been a better route for MC to take. But maybe everyone's infatuation with MC is too high anyways. So maybe they'll be like,
I feel like, and Christina's the one who puts out Sophie's name from memory. And MC doesn't actually, like, directly say Christina's name. It was like, it's such a shame because Christina really was like, I was just thinking that we need MC. Like, they loved MC. So it's just, a lot of that is on Matt. Matt really Jervised it. The same way Jervis was like, here's our 4, and then caused Sierra to go to Rocks. He did do that. He literally was like, us 3 and you. And there were better ways, Matt. But I still think MC responded to it badly. Like, even with that being true. But shame, like, I wonder if MC watches it back and is like, oh, they love me. They really love me, like, the whole time.
I did find it interesting that she kind of half told Sophie everything. Like, she didn't say, Christina said your name. Or, like, she didn't really, like, put any blame onto any of them. So then who does Sophie go for? Is Sophie just like, it's us 2 against the world? Like, who's our victim out of the 3? And what is MC going to say? She's going to be like, Matt, because he's a terrible salesman. But I just think it was like, she went into it aggressive and then pulled out. It's like she pulled out halfway through the conversation. She was like, oh, I don't want to say too much. And I'm like, it's too late.
which could also spook Sophie. It's like, who said my
Yeah.
name? You know, like,
Yeah.
I'll take that back. Like, if you won't give me all the information now, I have the ammo. So again, she's probably reading
Exactly.
that Sophie won't do that, and Sophie has no need to now. Like, these people are so far from tribal council, but
Yeah.
I didn't
But
think
then
there wasn't a lot of finesse here.
there's nothing stopping, Sophie going to the 3 and saying, "I've heard my name," and the 3 of them going, "What? Who's turned on us?"
Yeah, 100%. Well, should we talk about some of this in the chizzy?
Yes.
All right, take it away, Jacob Sager Weinstein and MC Color.
1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 3. It's getting kind of chizzy. 3, 2, 1.
All right,
great.
do you have chizzy points you want to give, or should I go first?
You go first.
All right, I'm going to give 3 points to Jake. I was hard on Jake last week. I really thought as he had pushed Sophie to bond more with Jeremiah, and then I saw that Sophie was so committed to him. I watched Sophie and Alex fight for an hour about how to be closest to Jake. I was like, have some self-respect. so, yes, he has physical room to move. He was given a lot of runway. Even Annie can't turn on him in her mind. But he has used it well. I think that he has like a pretty clear head about his 2 allies, and I think that they just need to get it together. So I think he's at the center, and if all kind of goes as it should, he should be left with the 3 on this group that is the perfect 3 for him specifically. And like, Alex might have wanted maybe Annie, and like Sophie might want Jeremiah, but I really think it's his 3, so I have to give him huge credit there. So I'm going to give him 3 points for that. And any part of like Alex not turning on Sophie because it would upset Jake. Maybe also he didn't do it because it would have been a crazy thing to do. Probably that. He got his like logic back. But I do think as well, like, then Jake will only come to me. Like, Jake will be so angry at you. I always kind of feel like that never really works unless you're like a Ferris and Kirby type. To, vote out someone's ally to make them closer to you sometimes. But is that like how good long-term, like foundational alliances are built?
Yeah,
Not for me. So I think that relationship protected Sophie, and I think that he's doing very, very well. I will give 2 points to Alex, who is doing very well in the chizzy charts. I think got 6 last week. He's getting 2 from me here. He did come back and do the right thing. He found the idol. He was completely right to go for Beware. Obviously, he knows that like they're on the disaster tribe. Go for whatever. He's in, a good spot in the numbers of the tribe. So I thought that made sense. And then he like achieves getting the idol, which was good. Also, we said last week, like, Annie turned against quote unquote the guys, but it was never Alex. She was closer to Alex than it was even portrayed last week. Even in the X interviews, like Alex is doing so much work in keeping like Nicole and Annie comfortable to be blindsided. So you have to give the credit there. And she was never coming for him, which we kind of thought she would never come for him, but it was even better than we thought. Like she wasn't even remotely, she never even had to be brought back. Like she was with him the whole time. So I think that, he did the right things. And then I'm going to give a point to Steven. I just feel like at this point, he's had the whole thing with Christina, both episodes, they're really tight. We've seen Jason say positive things about him. MC does. We've seen Matt say positive things. Like, again, even MC is like, I don't like that 4, but I like Steven. So I feel like he's getting a lot of positive content. Like the same way I gave a point to Shannon last week. It's just when almost everyone on your tribe is so positive about you. Like everything I hear is just positive from so many people. I have to, at that point, start like giving points to people, even if they're not on the losing tribe. I did want to give a point to Jawan. I really did. I felt like he did the journey. Like he made the right decisions. He got himself onto the journey. He won the challenge. Like even Savannah says, like the choices he made may have helped him. I think he did it all well. Like even the way that he communicated it to Kelly, like I would never do that to you. Like I thought that was all good, but he's quite on the outs. And the bag thing was bad. Like I watched the bag thing again. I was like, I can't give him a point for, like, not in the bag episode, even though I think he did well in the journey. I wanted to do it.
Their names are on the bag. How do you pick up someone else's bag?
Well, so there are two, they're not on the same tribe, but I know that you had a sticking point about having another Noonan. You had another Laura and another Noonan. On this season, firstly, there's 2 Sophies. Everyone's name starts with an S. It's very confusing. And there are 2 people with the last name Moore. Nate and Alex are both Moore. So maybe they needed a swap, and it's a whole thing like you had with Jesse, that you were both Noonan.
Moore doesn't have that good of a ring to it, so I understand why they're going by their first name. But why so many S's? Savannah, Sophie, Sophie. Like, there's just so many sisters.
Sage,
Like Sage.
Shannon.
Oh, there's too many.
It is crazy. I will quote what my dad said when I changed my last name. Well, I didn't officially change it because I'm lazy. But when I changed my name, when I took on my married name of Gus, and my dad was like, "There are 2 S's in Gus." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "And your name starts with S." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Too many S's." I'll quote my dad. That's true. I'm like, my name is at this point like mostly just S's and N's. Like it doesn't really work. But yeah, I mean, in the preseason, when I would listen to Mike's interviews and they would only be able to refer to people by initials, they'd be like, "A woman, it's S something." I'm like, "I'm out. I don't know which S woman it is. Most of the women are S." So yeah, actually, and now with Annie and Nicole out, it's just like all the women are S and MC, and Christina. Is that
And
it?
Jason and Jeremiah, like the Jays, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. We had that in Blood versus Water in Australia where we called them the Jays, Geordie, Jesse, Josh. It was a lot.
There's too many.
How did we get into names? Oh yeah, the names were on the bag. Is that what we were
Oh
saying?
yeah. How did Jawan pick up the wrong bag?
Yeah. Jawan and Savannah are quite different names. That one's on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he felt so bad about it.
Poor Jawan. Unfortunately, yes, it did take him out of chizzy contention, but I just felt bad for him. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your chizzy points?
Oh, yes. Okay, so I'm similar. I'm going to give 3 to Jake. I think for the archetype that he's playing, which is the muscle man with an ego, I think he's doing incredibly well to keep that in check. I think he's super subtle with his connections. It doesn't seem like he hasn't had to force anything. It's not hard for him. He's very close with Sophie, very close with Alex, and they both think they're as close with him. So I think you got to give him credit there. And he hasn't ruffled the feathers of that either. They're giving each other side eye, but he's not adding fuel to the fire, which I think some people do. They're like, they want to fuel this fire. He's calming the waters, and I think that's hard to do in a small tribe, in a fast game. So 3 go to him. I'm going to give 2 to Sophie from our sadness tribe, because
okay, great, yeah,
I think
she Sophie we know something about.
Yeah, I think she also does the right thing with putting all her cards out on the table so she doesn't have any skeletons in her closet, so they can't turn things against her later. She's very upfront with them about, this is what Annie's been saying. I did think she was a little aggressive with I'm going to steal the idol, but at least she's playing that in the back of her mind. She's like, here's an individual advantage. Are we just all going to pretend this is an idol for everyone? It's not. It's going to be an idol for Alex. And I think if it was Jake, it would be different. She'd be like, Jake has an idol, I have an idol, but it's Alex, and she's already getting vibes off him. So I still understand that method. And I like that Sophie, because you can see that she's trying really hard, and she rolled her eyes, and I relate to that. So I'm giving her 2 points. And I'm going to give my last point to Nate. We didn't see a lot of Nate this week, but again, previous to how I felt last week, he's really good at identifying where he is in the tribe. And like Rizzo was like, not to age you, but my dad, you gave me a hug like my dad. And he just falls into that for Riz. So he doesn't push it. He's not like, I'm the dad out here. I think he plays into his role for each person in his alliance. And even people out of his alliance, the way Jawan reacts with him, I think he's in a similar position to Steven, where I think everybody loves Nate. So he's just playing that up. And I want to give him a little bit of credit, because I think he's being strategic about it. I think he's actively making decision how I'm going to be around certain people. So I'm going to give one to Nate.
I think that's fair. I think that the father connection that he clearly has with Rizzo is really nice. I love his confessional about all of the young people talking. Like, these people are my age, and I don't think I talk like that. Like, I identified with him, and then every time anyone said vibes for the rest of the whole episode, I laughed. So Yeah, it was
The
like it was
vibe,
good comedy, and then Rizzo did it
yeah,
like so much. Like it was perfect. Like he really clocked
yeah.
it. Is that
And I
Jen
think
thinks?
he's going about it the right way, where in his confessionals, he's like, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what these words mean. But when he's with them, he's not looking down on them for it, which I think, being his age, some people do. Like when we were out there and we would make jokes, like sometimes Nash wouldn't get him. He's like, I don't get him. And he lets you know he doesn't get him. And you're like, oh, just try and come along, mate. So I think he's doing a good job of going along with his tribe. And then personally, he's like, I got no idea what they're saying. And why do they
Yeah.
use the word cooking in so many different variables and all this stuff?
Yeah. Like, stop it, Nate. Like, you are like a high up Marvel producer. You are making films for this demographic.
Yeah.
You know the dialogue, surely, even from just an academic standpoint. But yeah, I do feel like with Sophie, she's not wrong on the idol because the person finding it is someone who's like, should I idol out Sophie immediately?
Yeah.
So like, I get it, but he shouldn't be doing that, and she should also not be contributing to that. Like, I just think like, what is the natural conclusion of stealing the idol? Then no one ever finds the idol. There's like so much mistrust in that group now. Like, I
Yeah.
really think what she's done so well, and what the best thing she's done, a lot last week, but like the best thing is just locking in with this group again and just
Yeah.
like huddling together for dear life. Like any part of like breaking into that, taking the idol, like you've barely been brought into this group project. Like I don't think you should steal the idol from someone who was technically your ally, someone who technically
Yeah.
brought you in. And while yes, there is blame on the fact that Alex does possibly want to take her out at a point, he doesn't do that. And I just think both
Yeah.
of them need to lock in, like stop it,
Yeah.
you know? And I think
And
that was very
she
aggressive to try
she
to
has
do.
the power of knowing that he has it. So she's still got to think of that. She's like,
Yeah.
I know he has it. He knows I know. So that like kind of decreases the element of surprise.
Yeah. And also, I feel like it wasn't subtle either. She was like, can I just take the ball and chain? Like, if you haven't found it days later, they would be looking at her. And they both trust,
Yeah.
like, Alex trusts Jake so much that at a point where, like, they do vote out, say, a Jeremiah and no one found the beware advantage, he would really not trust her. Like, he would really
Yeah.
think, I think you would be severing a lot of relationships, creating
Yeah.
a lot of
I think it was
mistrust.
the right decision. Like, obviously, Alex finds it. So she was kind of forced into not stealing
Yeah.
it. But I don't blame her for having those selfish thoughts.
I do blame her. Like, what are you doing? And I blame Alex. I blame Alex for thinking maybe I should idol out. So like, both of you just get it together. Like, that's what Jake is probably saying. Like, you've made Jake the voice of reason. That makes me upset. Now I
Yeah,
have
and
to
that's
say
why
that. Now
he
I have to
got
give
3.
Jake. Yeah, Jake gets 6 chili points. And like, it's fine. Like, Jake's doing well. I'm just saying that like, he's the shoe bandit and he has 6 chili points now. Look what
The
you both have
greatest
done.
the greatest line was like, what did he say? What happens when you piss off the shoe bandit? And
He's
I
tied your
thought
shoe.
he was going to be really funny and say, you know what happens when you piss off the shoe bandit? And I was going to be like, shoes go missing. But then he said something like, it gets real. I was like, oh, no, you should have said that shoes go missing. That would have been way funnier.
Yeah. Again, we can ask Nate at some point after the season if the shoe bandit with the catchphrase "it gets real" is a good superhero or villain.
Someone said, like, I saw online, they were like talking about Nate, and I wanted to say that I want Nate to go to tribal council so bad because he's such a fan of the Goonies, and that obnoxiously large ship at tribal council would be like his dream come true. Oh, he'd be like,
The ship is ridiculous.
it's amazing. I'm like,
The ship is
God,
the coolest thing ever.
it's the coolest thing I've seen. I was like, this is sick.
Do we have a better catchphrase for the shoe bandit?
Oh, why the left shoe? That's what I want to know.
Do we have like there must be something like don't shoot, but it's like shoo. Shooing all your enemies away.
What is it?
You can run, but you can't hide. Actually,
Something
you can't
shoe-
run because I stole your shoe.
Yeah, or if you mess with the shoe bandit, you get the laces. I don't know, something that's just funnier.
Yeah, I'll tie you up.
Yeah.
No, that's not great.
Now it's getting creepy.
This is my sole purpose.
Yes.
There is more there. Things can be done.
That's better. Soul, yeah. How are you going to
Yeah.
win Soul Survivor without your shoes? Because
You'll be tongue-tied, and we've got the tongue part and the laces.
yeah, he could really milk this. I don't think he will, but it's still in the narrative.
Send in your best shoe bandit catchphrases because we gave 6 chizzy points to the shoe bandit. So that's where we're at on Survivor 49. Yeah, that's what's happening. Noonan, thank you so much. Do you have anything else to say about this episode in the season?
I'm excited. I still think it's a really good season. I do love the cast. Something about the new era that I do love is, although there's only a tribe of 6, I feel like you get to know more people quickly. It's like when they decided to do RuPaul's Drag Race and have 2 opening episodes, so you get to know the queens. It feels a bit like that. Like now I feel like I get to know a lot of people quicker. And that's what I love. I love the characters in Survivor just as much as the gameplay. So I think this has a nice slow burn, and I am looking forward to seeing things get shaken up. But no, I've loved it. I've loved that we finally got to chat.
Yeah, I'm so happy we got to chat about it. Tell the people where they can find what you're doing.
What am I doing?
Just anything, social media, live.
Oh, where you can find me? I'm on Instagram. My name is misspelt because I was drunk when I made it. So it's Laura.
No, how's it misspelled?
It's spelt Laura Noonan because I missed an N, and now I'm scared to change it in case things disappear.
No, it's not.
Yeah, look at it.
Oh dear. Oh wow, that might make Jessie the official Noonan of your season. I don't know how to tell you this, but
and I'm scared to change it because what if I change it and then it like gets rid of everything? I don't think that will happen, but
this is so tragic. I'm pretty sure you can just change it.
Okay, I'll try.
But I don't know.
But if I change it, do all my like tagged photos disappear?
Oh, this is the worst thing ever. When did you realize? Why didn't you said you were drunk, but then didn't you sober up and then immediately change it?
No, because I just left it. I didn't think I'd get on the show. I didn't think it would be a big deal.
When did you realize that it was different?
Like maybe a couple months later. When did I make my Instagram? When I was like 16? It's been over 10 years.
It's so unfortunate, but I didn't notice until now, and I've been chatting with you, and I follow
that's
you.
Fine.
So
yeah, that's fine.
Because they say that's what humans do, right? As long as the beginning and the end is right, like that's how typos happen, is that you don't notice the things in the middle. So
yeah, it's still got the new there, and that's all people really recognize. Yeah,
it's got most of it, other than the end that it needs to make the name. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate that that's also how you go by. Like there was so much attachment to the Noonan name. It's so upsetting.
It's so annoying, but I'm too scared to change it.
Okay, well, follow Noonan at Laura Noonan.
Laura Noonan. That's why I like Jawan, because he's got a cool name.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Okay, well, follow Noonan. Follow me at Shannon Gates, which is, to be fair, I'm making fun of your thing. Like that's not even my name anymore. So Gaitz. Yeah, because I didn't want to change it because I was like, what happened to my tag photos?
Yes, thank you. It's a legitimate fear.
Also, that's my ad. I didn't want to change it, but Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram. Next week, I will have Kieran and Dino, which going to South Africa. So that's going to be our recap. So that'll be fun. Second episode of Gussin' Around is out. Thank you to all the people who've checked it out. Peter and I are talking about a lot of things. Some of them serious, some of them fun. This week, we talked about our gender reveal and how we feel about having a girl. And Peter wants our child to collect like rocks and stamps. And I was like, over my dead body. And he was like, I just want a child who has, my interests. And I was like, why are those your interests? And we went back and forth.
Why do
I want a little Swiftie. So hopefully. And this is what we're putting onto our unborn child. But that's a Gussin' Around. So Gussin' Around podcast is on YouTube. You can search for Gussin' Around on Spotify, on Apple. I've linked that everywhere if you want to check that out. And I think that's basically it. Noonan, thank you so much. This was such a fun time.
I loved it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you to our team behind the scenes. And I will see you next time. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.